Okay, everyone, can you hear me? Thanks for bearing with us. Welcome to the conference. Heroes Home, a national scandal. Really sad that we have to have this conference. We shouldn't need it, but we do. So what I want to do is start the first half an hour. What we've said is we want to hear the stories of the families who've been through this, won't you? Then we're going to hear a little bit from a variety of different organisations about their experience of what can make a difference, some good news stories so that we can have a bit of hope for the future, and then we'll hear some lived experience from people who've been through this hell and been out the other side. So, can I ask, like Sylvia and Ruth and Tracy and Karen and Andrew to come up and share as much or as little as you want. We're filming all this, and the idea is that we could hopefully put it up on YouTube in little chunks later on, so that other people can enjoy it. So, how do you want to do it? Do you want to come up one at a time, or do you want to come up all together? Don't all rush at once. Right. A big warm welcome for the Karen and Andrew for sharing this story. So just tell a little bit about the story. Tracy's here. You coming up, Tracy? Come up here, yeah, come up, take the stage.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Everyone hear me okay? Yes? Yes. Good. So, I'm Andrew, Fraser's dad. Our story is, well, probably no different to anyone else's. We're just at all different levels of the journeys. My wife and I, Karen, asked for help for Fraser when he turned 17, just after lockdown. And at a period of time when we were transitioning from child services to adult services, Fraser's non-verbal, profoundly deaf. And we reached out for some help to help us as a family and help young Fraser. And that's when the nightmare began, and I can assure you, it is a nightmare. He ended up in Woodlands View. He's now been in there 3 years come March, and we are going backwards. Fraser is going backwards. Us as a family are going backwards. Our own health has declined, our well-being. But to put it in perspective a wee bit, Fraser's spent 3 birthdays, 3 Christmases. He's never played with our granddaughter. We've only seen her through a window. He's missing so much. He's not living his life, and it doesn't need to be this way. Everything that we try and do for Fraser, it's just fought back by being obstructive. We are the difficult parents. They know best when they know nothing. And I just really, what Karen and I wish for is really progress and accountability. We just want Fraser home, or Fraser in an environment where he can continue to live his life in whatever means possible, but being locked in hospital is not the solution. We only found out yesterday at a CPA that Fraser is on more drugs that we didn't even know he was on. Didn't know he was on them, and we're Fraser's guardians. We didn't know he was on this particular drug and has been for 3 years. So the whole thing is heartbreaking. I'll pass you quickly to Karen, and she'll say a few words and pass you down. Thank you for listening to my story.
I'm Fraser's mum, and Andy's really covered everything more or less of what is going on at the moment. We're branded bad parents because we just try to defend our son. Fraser up till he went into Woodland View had a normal diet, and since he's been in there he's been placed on a level 6 diet. We've taken it to lawyers, we've taken it to health boards, but everything we do for Fraser, the health board go against us in every single avenue, because the NHS investigate the NHS, so you'll never win. Any complaints you take to them, you will never get an honest answer, and it takes its toll on the whole family, health-wise, elderly members of the family thinking they'll never see Fraser out again. And we just want to see Fraser, even if it's not back home with us, out and about in the community enjoying his life, which is what a basic human right of what we're all entitled to. And I feel these 3 ladies here with me, we never knew each other before this hell we were all thrown into, and we're now all friends, flung together in a situation. And we all stand side by side in solidarity with each other for it, and I'll let you carry on.
Could I just say a couple of things before? Just one of the things that Fraser's parents have noticed, and it's quite common, is that people go in, they get assessed, and all of a sudden they're worse. So this therapeutic environment gives them new labels, gives them new hurdles. So instead of getting closer, you get further away. When Fraser came home on a trial discharge, he was terrified of he'd lost the skills of being able to be at home with his parents. So this is the thing that we have to get rid of, this myth that it's a safe place, that it's therapeutic. There's a difference between a very short-term crisis intervention and this becoming somebody's life. It de-skills them. It puts people in a situation where loud and no privacy is normal, where drugs and restraint are normal. You were 11 people on. I think people need to hear the horror of this.
Yeah, so Fraser, back in June, Fraser was wanting to go. We went out for a walk every morning, and it was during the hot spell, we went to get ice cream together, and on one occasion I went to the door to meet up with him, and he was told that he couldn't go. But then he backpedaled on it and said he could go, but he had to come straight back to the ward. He couldn't go out to the garden. So we went, we got the ice cream, we were in the shop. Fraser signed to me to go out to the garden. I said, we're not allowed to do that, remember you have to go back. And Fraser launched the bottle of Coke across the shop at me because it was my fault that I wasn't letting him go out. The alarms were pulled, 11 people descended on my son and took him to the floor, and 4 of them lay there holding him while I stood on, and they kept telling me to move back behind the screen, and I said, I'm not moving back, I'm not leaving my son, because the last time I left him, he had Chinese burns all up his arms, and I said, he is terrified. He needs to go under a blanket to regulate and just come down off it himself. It's really an abuse of power, and no one holds him to any account for it. And this institutionalised behaviour that Fraser now presents with is unbelievable. My husband asked them to do some form of rehabilitation for Fraser, and they said, we're an assessment unit, we can rehabilitate. So basically they can take them into the hospital, keep them a long time, mop them up, but they can't help them get out the other side of it. And when Fraser went into Woodland View, he's been diagnosed with ADHD, given medication for 9 months for ADHD, and then just dropped in at a CPA, oh, Fraser doesn't have ADHD. They've said he's autistic, then they said he's not autistic. They said he had mental health issues, then they said he didn't have mental health issues, but meanwhile, every time they've got something, they medicate him for it. And as Andy said, we found out yesterday that he's on more medication that we didn't know about, and it's just, this hell needs to stop. Stop doing this to people, you're frying the brain.
So that people can see in the video.
will know, most people know my story and Gordon's story. So I'm Ruth Hughes and my son is Gordon. Gordon's autistic, has moderate learning disabilities and ADHD. I can only describe the past few years as being nothing short of a nightmare. Sometimes I wake up and I can't actually believe that it's happening, because what is happening to our children and our loved ones is no one should have this happening to them. It's not beneficial, it's not helping, it's making things 100 times worse, and that's what Karen said. They go in needing help and they come out and they need they've got 100 more things wrong, and they medicate for everything. My son's on so much medication now that he's just not the same person, and I don't know this. I've not seen him, but I have a monthly update, and my son's now on 30 milligrams of olanzapine, high dose, 1,600 grams of lithium, and because he's now suffering from compulsions, which these medications cause, I get a letter home saying now it breaks my heart to say this, but he's now having compulsions over his eating, which he's never had in his life. He's now can't leave the table till he's licked every dish. And to hear a boy that had a wonderful life, was going to college, had good humour, was bubbly, is now doing this, breaks my heart. He's been restrained and injected in double figures this year, as far as I know. If he doesn't want the medication, he says it doesn't make him feel good, he's pinned down and injected. To do that to my child, and I can't even be there to comfort him, is awful. And it just, he went in there, a 19-year-old boy, and he's a broken boy now, and he just wants out, and he can't get out, and I can't get him out, and the longer he's there, they'll always tick the box. And like you say, he used to get sedated if we were visiting him, because he was excited. You know, this is what happens. There's a drug for everything. If you're emotional, you get a drug. You know, if you're angry, you're not allowed to be angry, you get drugged. You know, you've got to be compliant, and it's a very controlling, restricting environment, and the State Hospital Carstairs is not the place. Any institution is not the place, but it is a prison, and there is no rights at all, no human rights, and we have to get this stopped. We have to get all our loved ones back home in the community where they can be with their families and have a life, and it's just barbaric cruelty that's going on and breaches of human rights, and it just will not stop fighting until this is changed. And so far, the people that can change it are doing nothing. So it's just, we're going to have to just keep going and be listened to.
Thank you. It feels wrong to clap that story. Just these stories that we're clapping people that have shared the raw honesty about what they're facing. As Ruth has said, Ruth's not even allowed to see her son. She's had situations where people have hung up when he's said things about medical staff. The level of human rights violations here is ridiculous, and one of the things we need to think about after today is how can the Mental Welfare Commission, who are supposed to oversee some of the most vulnerable people, how can there be investigation after investigation and nothing serious changes? The power shift that needs to happen is absolutely huge. There are some people who are doing incredibly good, thoughtful work, but for others, this could be the 1980s when I first started nursing. This is the same stuff. Some of this thinking hasn't moved on. Sylvia, do you want to come up and say a bit more about Jamie?
Jamie that was the wrong environment, and took away, like, his parent, like just family visits, because he used to be with us 4 times out of 7, but that he took away to an hour visit. He couldn't cope with that because his routine was very much family orientated. So what happened there was he was only 19 then, he's now 26. He got put into a hospital. He was in the hospital just, I think it was 5 months just for the usual assessment thing. If it was that, it was October 16, by January 17, he was fit to leave the hospital. But we couldn't find a house for him. So for 3 years he just had to stay there. But for him, luckily, he was out with us 4 of them. He was only in like 3 days really in the hospital. And then COVID came along. I knew that would cause lots of problems because my boy was an outdoor boy. He could walk for 7 hours a day, you know, and he always wanted out. He didn't like being in the house. I knew that would cause a problem. The nurse in charge, the doctor in charge said, yeah, there'll be issues with that. And Jamie's 99% good most of the time, but we know there'll be issues with that. So I said, well, could you try and get me to be essential, as an essential, so that I can go in and at least say, we're not seeing your family because of COVID, because basically he was okay up to then. In 2020, COVID came along, and there was nothing, everything got broken, and no routine. So I was wanting to just go in, even for half an hour, even for 10 minutes, whatever, just to explain to him that you can't see your family now because of COVID, but mum will keep coming, tell me how it's doing and keep you right. And I also work with people with mental health, so I had to follow the rules. So I just asked, could I come in just a wee room? And it was a no, they never looked into it or nothing. And as the doctor says, and I said, there'd be issues. So 2 weeks into the COVID, Jamie pulled a socket off the wall. And he was waiting to go into the house when just before that, but because of COVID that got all stopped as well. Basically, because he pulled the socket off the wall, he got put, so it was another change to his routine, he got put to another hospital. So he was in that hospital, so that was the change, and then still no family, still nothing, like he was used to getting out, locked up, then he'd get out for a walk for half an hour, anything, just locked up. And that, Jamie never liked that, he was a wee boy. So that caused problems. So he couldn't understand it, and he assaulted somebody. They looked into it to see what it was all about and all that. And he still stayed in the same ward. But then his birthday came along, and nobody turned up for his birthday. His presents were there, his cards were there, but nobody turned up for his birthday. So 2 days after his birthday, he assaulted somebody again, and this time they sectioned him and they put him into an intensive psychiatric unit. And he's been in there ever since. He's now got epilepsy, which he didn't have. He's getting medicated most days because he's in the wrong environment and doesn't cope in that environment. He's got so many of his family who have died since COVID, just generally, and animals that he loved that have passed away and not there now when he gets out. That's going to change his routine as well. And I don't know what kind of boy I'm going to get back, but he's missed it so much. And then there's the bit, is he self-harming, what's happening? I don't know, but he's had the fractured toe, the stitches at both sides of his face. He's had a broken nose. He's had 2 teeth, one out completely, one broken, which is just now being fixed. And just trying to get the other bit done, you know, to get the full tooth done properly. But it's just a big, they don't even, like, my son's toenails are so long, it's unbelievable, they're turning, because they just keep saying there's a waiting list to get his toenails cut. So don't look into the health side of things or nothing. He's just in there every day. And when I phone, he's in the quiet room, he's in the quiet room, he's in the quiet room. He's a people person, he loves people. Why does he want to be in the quiet room all the time? He never wanted that before. And then if something changes in his routine, he ends up getting punished for it. Like for the other day, I think we managed to deal with it. I think I managed to deal with it, because it seemed okay. But what happened, just to give you an idea, is Jamie for the first time was going to have a meal with my family, but still only allowed in the grounds. And he was at he used to go for a walk, a cafe then a walk. But we're now allowed to go to the canteen and then a walk. But we went for the meal in the canteen and Jamie pointed for his walk. He doesn't speak either a single word. Pointed for his walk. And I asked the nurses and they said, no, we need to be back at 5 o'clock. It would have took 5 minutes more to go round and let him do that wee walk. But no, we need to be back for 5. So he gets to the cafe and he points again because he's wanting to go that walk. Because he always goes for a walk after he's something to eat. No, that's the routine for the cafe. But no, he didn't get for that walk. So just before I left him, I said, Jamie, you got your walk. It's only a short walk. You got your walk. You walk to the canteen, and you walk back. That was your walk. That's your walk. Because I had to put that in his head. Because if I didn't put that in his head, he would have played up because he didn't get his walk. He would have got medicated, maybe even restrained if he took it into a meltdown, all because he didn't get that extra walk, that wee walk, and it took 5 minutes more. It's just we just stick to routine and stick with the rules, and it doesn't matter what and their routine. That doesn't matter, it's their rules and they've got to stick with that. It doesn't work for them. They can stick with it, no one know what they know. So just makes things worse.
Thank you so much. If you heard, if somebody said to you, could you support this young man who's 3-1, who's assaulted a staff member, you might be apprehensive. You might think, how's this guy ever going to cope in the community? This is a young man that Sylvia took on holiday. Was it Tenerife?
Yeah, just
February before. She wasn't meant to. She's a rule breaker. But Sylvia on her own, without any trained staff, not even a 3-1, no PRN medication, took him on holiday on a commercial flight. He went, he sang, he joined in the karaoke. Right? What is wrong with this picture? This is the same guy. The system has done this to this guy. Okay, Tracy, do you want to come up?
Hi there, my name is Tracy Gibbon. My son is Kyle Gibbon. He's been in the state hospital for 14 years now. He entered in 19. So, however, like I say, he's stuck in the system, no way out, no plan to move him on. He entered there because a doctor took over his case when he was in Aberdeen, and she decided that he needed an assessment, and within 6 weeks of her taking over his case, I was told he'd been moved to the state hospital in Carstairs. Kyle was attending Aberdeen College. He actually got a flat in Aberdeen, but we were waiting for a system to go in place for a smart technology for the door system to be closed, with an argument between the hospital and the council who was going to be paying for the system, and that was delayed. So, like I say, he's been in the state hospital Carstairs. He's had horrendous care. He's been drugged. He's been assaulted, he's had a broken arm, he's got 2 metal plates now, there's no plan in place after 14 years and moving him on from the state hospital. He's in the same position now as when he went in. There's not a place to be in, and they've got restrictions. I'm only allowed to visit him 1 hour per visit. I'm not allowed to visit every day, only one visit every other day, even though I'm travelling from the Aberdeenshire. The system's broken, and my son's been left alone in the system, and the government is taking it. So that's basically what I can tell you. It's kind of, because everybody has got the same story, we're all saying the same thing. Again, it all started because when you reach the age at 18, from childhood to adulthood, but ask for help, and that's the help I got. He's ended up in a system that I can't get out.
Thank you so much. Okay, so thanks families for sharing their stories. I mean, the accumulated, the number of years that we're talking about is massive here. And for some people it's not getting closer, because the deeper you get in the system, the harder it is for anybody to see a way out. We have to stop doing the stuff that doesn't make sense in order to move forward. And there's a lot of people in this room who've got experience of helping people to think differently, to move on from this mindset of fear, control and panic. And so John Dalrymple, I'd like to ask you to come up, and maybe if you've got your put in your presentation, talk about radical visions, and just connect up. Yeah, you can put setting up here.
I just came to mind there when the rest of the mums were all speaking there about sort of personal care, basic human rights. For a period of time there, we had to visit Fraser through the mesh window, and I was standing outside, rain, sleet, snow, stuff like that. Fraser showed us his Santa Christmas wish list, holding it up to the mesh. Karen and I are outside in bits trying to digest this. And we noticed things like basic care, nails, length of his nails and stuff. And we looked at his feet, took his sock off. We were outside, by the way, he's put his feet up at the window, and the mesh is in the front door, Woodlands View, in his ward. And the nails were so long, actually curling around and cutting his toes. And that's why he was complaining he had sore feet. And we've got the chiropodist isn't in the hospital. We can't get out the chiropodist or whatever it's required. It got to the point that we managed to get Fraser's feet. They opened the mesh. We put Fraser's feet, he thought it was hysterical. And both his feet sticking out the window at Woodlands View in the main car park, and my wife and I cutting his nails. Now, part of that is like, oh, Fraser thought it was hysterical. That is just horrific, beyond belief. The wee black guy couldn't walk, his nails were turning, growing back into his feet. And we managed to persuade them to open the mesh. Two of them held him, his feet through the door, and his mum and I had to cut his nails. If we can't get that right, really, what hope? Sorry.
Thank you. I'm just going to